So S22 Ultra, it's either you go Ultra or you go home.
My guy.
Right, yeah.
In today's video, we'll be taking a look at the Galaxy S22 series and everything you're supposed to be expecting at the Unpack event.
The features of all three versions of the phone, S22, S22 Ultra, and S22 Plus, will come to individual specs, but then what they all have in common: Infinity O display, as Samsung is calling it, or what we better know as the single center punch hole display selfie camera, like that little hole you have
like
on your
most
display.
Of the devices,
yeah.
Like this guy. Yeah.
And then triple rear camera setup for the S22, S22 Plus, and a quad rear camera setup for the S22 Ultra. Snapdragon Gen 8 Gen 1 or Exynos 2200. I mean, the United States gets to keep the best, so they get the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, and then the rest of the world. This planet, it's the United States versus the rest of the world. So yeah, and then One UI 4.1 plus Android 12. The S21 FE came at 4.0, One UI.
4.0
okay.
With Android 12.
An on-screen ultrasonic fingerprint scanner, just like the S21 series. Ultrasonic, different from optical. Our good pal, Rick Aqua.
I'm not Rick.
So he made a comparison between optical fingerprint scanners and an ultrasonic, so you can go check the video out. Coming to the individual specs of each of the versions of the phone, starting with the S22.
Okay.
The display, 6.1-inch display, OLED 2K display with adaptive refresh rate of 10 Hz to 120 Hz.
This is quite bright, as we are having 1500 nits of peak brightness.
Yeah.
With an adaptive refresh rate of 10 Hz to 120 Hz. So that actually helps with battery life.
Yeah, examples of reasons or situations where you need a high refresh rate is gaming and things where there's a lot of movement on the display, and when you have just like a dull screen, just the wallpaper or scrolling through Twitter or something like that, you don't really need
even
120
watching our
Hz.
video on YouTube, you don't need
Of course, right? Byte unlocked. Check that out. Last year we did have the S21 and the S21 coming with a plastic back. Alright, you think that's kind of like, is it a mid-range? No, it's a flagship, but then
they call it plastic.
They call it plastic, right?
Poly something. I mean, it has glass-like properties.
Of course. It's kind of like polished plastic in some ways, yeah. But it's like deception. It's plastic, right? And the S21 Plus and S21 Ultra both came with a glass back. We hope to see the same thing this year, this time around. The camera, most interesting feature of the entire phone. 50 megapixel main camera, 12 megapixel ultra wide, 10 megapixel telephoto with 3 times optical zoom on the S22, right? We had the same on the S21 last year with the 12 megapixel main camera, 12 megapixel ultra wide, and a 10 megapixel telephoto with 1 times optical zoom, 3 times hybrid, with optical image stabilization. The telephoto did have optical image stabilization, alongside a 10 megapixel selfie camera. And moving to the RAM, we have just one version, just one amount of RAM on any version at all, 8 gigs of RAM coupled with either 128 or 256 gigs of storage. That's enough for pretty much anything you need. If you need more storage, Google Drive, I beg. S22, S22 Plus, just in case you guys didn't know, have more in similar than different. One of the few differences they have is the display size. S22 Plus is going to be bigger than the S22, like significantly bigger, coming with a 6.6-inch display compared to the 6.1-inch display we have on the S22. Also a little brighter, 1750 nits brightness, higher, 250 nits in difference, higher than the S22 regular. 4500 mAh battery on the S22 Plus versus a 3700. That's a big difference comparing last year, which we kind of had a big difference on last year as well.
4,800.
Yeah, 4,800 on the S21 Plus versus 4,000 on the S21. But I mean, S21 still had a 4,000 mAh battery, but this time around they're cutting it down. They're cutting both down, right?
You see, most of the times battery capacity deals with the size of the phone. So if there's enough space to place a bigger battery, that's fine. I don't know if the design, the display is smaller than before.
Is it? It's quite smaller than before.
So since it's smaller than before, then obviously there'll be a
smaller battery.
Because that's why the Z Flip 3 5G doesn't have a bigger battery, because it's very small.
Right, makes sense. All right. So S22 Ultra, it's either you go Ultra or you go home.
My guy.
Right, yeah.
So let's start with the S22 Ultra, the specs we have so far. Boxy design, which is something I personally love.
Of course.
Except for the fact that it has a curved edges, and the curved edges are something I look much into.
Yeah.
And it should come with 45 watts fast charging.
Coupled with a 5,000 milliamp hour battery.
Makes sense, because it's a bigger battery, and of course, if you have a bigger battery, you need a faster time to charge.
I mean, this is a big jump from last year. 25 watts we had on the Ultra. 25 watts on an Ultra device kind of didn't sit well with a lot of people last year. But this time around, if it's actually true, it comes with 45 watts fast charge. It's going to be a very big jump and going to help a lot. S Pen support, right? Just like a Note series, and not just that, it uses S Pen. It has a slot for the S Pen. That is Note-like in any way at all.
So what the plan was to merge the functionalities of an S device and the functionalities of a Note, all the physiques, and then put it all together for a Note. We're expecting this when the S20 Ultra was announced, that the S20 Ultra was going to be the beginning of a merger for the Note series until the S20 Ultra floor.
Yeah, so the beginning of the end of the Note series. Exactly. Going to the display, obviously a bigger display, right? 6.8 inch display. Also 2K, but a lot more pixels. That you can call this 2K, right? 3080 by 1440, right?
Slightly 3K.
Oh yeah, going into
3K.
Technically it's 2K, right? 2K, with a lot more pixels than the S21 Plus, S22 Plus, and the S22 Ultra.
With the speciality being the fact that there's toggles from 1 Hz to 120 Hz. Now the device we've seen that on, I think, is the iPhone 13 Pro Max.
Yeah, that goes from 10 to 120. This goes from 1 to 120, like 1 to 120.
iPhone doesn't change from 1 to 120 Hz, but you keep going.
Camera, 108 megapixels since S20 Ultra, right? We've been seeing 108 main camera, lenses on the rear end of the device. 12 megapixel ultra wide, 2 telephoto lenses, just like last year. Last year we had one at 1 times optical, 1 times optical zoom, and then 3 times optical zoom. If I'm right.
The reason why they are adding 2 telephoto lenses is to have their way with zooming in into stuff and still maintaining the quality.
Of course.
I mean, we know what's the use of a telephoto lens. The telephoto lens is supposed to give you that zoom in and then also maintain the quality for you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some smartphones have telephoto lenses that do not do so well.
Of course.
But with this, I'm pretty sure you're going to get super crisp images even if you zoom in.
Yeah. So having a 3 times optical zoom and then a 10 times optical zoom, you can go as far as 10 times zoomed in, still maintaining quality. Just so you know, they do have optical image stabilization inbuilt into these lenses. So you're not only maintaining quality, you're also maintaining stability as well. You're getting a steady shot even as you zoom far in. So I think that's a very big thing to see on this device. It's 40 megapixel selfie camera, just like last year as well.
It doesn't have. There's this. I don't know why I've forgotten this. The iPhone normally has a sensor here.
LiDAR.
Yes, the LiDAR sensor that helps or aids with
3D depth sensing and imaging.
And it even works with night photography.
It helps.
Samsung is not coming with a LiDAR sensor, so I'm really seeing how, I don't know, I just want to see how
pull it off, right? Yeah, because it has to be better than last year. If not, then like, what is there to offer from this S22 Ultra, right? Yeah. And then finally the battery, 5,000 milliamp hour battery with, like you said, 45 watt fast charge, 5,000 just like last year, and 45 watt fast charge. We have not seen anything like that in a flagship from Samsung, so this is going to be the first if it does come out. So these are specs of the S22 series coming up in 2 days, and yes, 2 days from now we do hope to have the S22, any of the versions, under stable bytes unlocked style, and we'll kill it, just so you guys know. So subscribe and do whatever it is you want to do down there. Kill the like button and everything. Comment, Charlie.
You see, if you click the like button right now, there's an animation that will pop up. Try it and see. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and leave your comments and thoughts about what you think about the device, what you're expecting to see as well. And hopefully we'll come your way together with some more videos like these ones. I'm Delppy.
I'm Wazz.
And we'll catch you in another one.